Welcome back to Flickr Recaps. Today we're looking at a drama history war film from 2001 titled Enemy at the Gates. But beware, spoilers ahead! In 1942, a year after the Germans invaded the Soviet Union during the Second World War, Red Army soldier Vasily Zaitsev boards a train to Stalingrad. He thinks of the time his grandfather taught him how to shoot a rifle. There are hundreds of other soldiers on the train too, along with many civilians, including Tanya Chernova. Vasily notices her but doesn't say anything. The civilians all get off the train at an earlier point while the soldiers are taken right to the center of the Battle of Stalingrad. To reach the front lines they have to go by boat, but the enemy see an opportunity. They attack and open fire on the group. Some of the men jump into the water trying to escape, only to be shot by their own superior officers for desertion. Once they reach the docks, half of the soldiers are given a rifle, the other half is given bullets and are to follow a soldier with a weapon. The group is forced into a suicidal charge that the Germans easily overpower, and Vasily, who was just given bullets, just survives by staying close to the ground and playing dead. Once again, soldiers that try to escape are shot by their own side, labelled cowards and traitors. Before long, bodies litter the ground, not a living soul to be found, at least until a car comes barreling through the area. It's hit by a tank shell and blown into the air. Commissar Danilov emerges from the wreck and legs it to a fountain to hide. He plays dead in the pile of dead bodies. But then German soldiers come by to make sure there are no survivors by shooting at them. Miraculously, Danilov is not killed. They leave, so Danilov takes a rifle from one of the bodies, aiming and shooting it at the building where he can see soldiers, but the weapon is out of ammo. Suddenly, Danilov realizes he isn't the only survivor in the fountain. Vasily had the same hiding place, and he asks Danilov for the rifle. He loads it with the bullets he was given earlier. Vasily advises he should wait for a loud explosion before shooting so they aren't discovered. But since Danilov is a political commissar, he has little experience with weapons, so he gives Vasily the rifle. Another vehicle with soldiers appears, so Vasily moves behind the fountain wall, aiming his gun through a hole. As soon as he hears an explosion, he shoots each German in the head with total accuracy. Hours later, once they've been rescued and taken back to headquarters, Danilov prints a load of leaflets describing Vasily's heroic actions. Not long after, Chairman Nikita Khrushchev arrives at Stalingrad to coordinate the city's defense. Since Stalingrad is a symbol of power, they can't afford to lose. Furious at hearing about yet another loss, he demands suggestions from his subordinates on how to improve morale. But most of the soldiers just repeat the same ineffective tactics they'd been using for years. Danilov pipes up with a totally different angle. He thinks that instead of doling out punishment, they should deliver hope. They should create a hero and inspire people to care and protect the motherland. And it just so happens he has the hero for the job. They accept Danilov's idea and promote him to senior lieutenant. Vasily's face appears in the newspaper presenting him as a good example to follow, and he's also been promoted to the sniper division. Vasily quickly becomes the face of the Russian army, both as a national hero and propaganda icon. His exploits would appear on every edition of the army's newspaper and on pamphlets that would find their way to walls all over the country. One day during one of their missions, Vasily and his men stumble across a young boy called Sasha Filipov, who admires Vasily. Sasha invites Vasily to his very humble home where his mother, Mrs. Filipov, prepares him dinner as thanks for his brave and dedicated service to their country. A little while later, Danilov turns up bringing letters from Vasily's fans from all over the country. To continue the plan of hope and propaganda, Danilov makes him reply to every single one, but helps him with what to write and how to spell. One more person then joins the group. Tanya, the girl from the train. She is like a sister to Sasha and has become a private in the local militia. She happens to be fluent in German because she went to the university. Danilov is keen to recruit her because they need more soldiers with knowledge of the German language, but Tanya would rather stay and fight, especially since the local militia are short on men. She changes her mind, however, when Danilov explains how crucial her help would be by decoding German intel and that he'll send 12 soldiers in exchange for every person that speaks German. Meanwhile, the German army is really taking a hit from Vasily and his sniper team attacking their ranks. So they send for German Major Erwin König, a renowned marksman and head of the German army sniper school. He has the task of killing Vasily and so prepares a plan, not to hunt Vasily down, but to force Vasily to come to him. Some hours later, Vasily is woken up from a nap because there's some trouble near the department stores. Vasily shoots at a shadow in the window and a helmet flies out. He'd hit his target. He goes with Ludmilla to find the body, but as soon as they leave, their companion is shot. The pair make it inside the department store, moving quietly until they reach the window in question, only to find that the shadow they'd shot was just a mannequin, posed to look like a sniper. This was clearly a trap, but Vasily finds a cigarette butt on the ground, and it starts to dawn on him that the enemy is probably still there and watching them. Vasily thinks they should stay calm and stay hidden until they think of a proper escape plan. But as planes start flying overhead dropping bombs, Ludmilla gets scared and runs off, giving König an easy shot. But Vasily gets away before he suffers the same fate. König returns to his hideout, and Sasha pretends to be innocently cleaning his shoes while he is actually passing important information about Vasily in exchange for food, so the Major will trust him and share information of his whereabouts in return. When the Red Army learns that the Germans are using König, they send for one of his former students, Kulikov, to teach Vasily how König thinks and to help kill him. Before returning to the field, however, Vasily must attend a special party thrown in his honor. After greeting Tanya, he's dragged by Khrushchev to speak with journalists, answer questions, take pictures, and look at a giant Stalin painting, because according to Khrushchev, he's always watching over his country. Seeing the painting again reminds Vasily of that day his grandfather taught him to shoot. It turns out he missed his first shot, which allowed a wolf to get to their horse and eat it. Some days later, Vasily and another member of the sniper team, Volodya, enter an abandoned building where they have been told they can find König. They stealthily search the building and they find a body posed like the mannequin from before. They must be on the right track. They cross open ground, luckily avoiding enemy bullets, taking refuge in the building, and they manage to shoot 2 repair guys before it's dinner time. Volodya leaves his comrades for a moment to retrieve the soup he had been heating in another room, but on the way is captured. König and his cronies try to force him to tell them where Vasily is hiding, but since Volodya won't talk, they send him out dressed as a repair guy. Without knowing it's their comrade, Kulikov kills him without hesitation, deliberately revealing their location. By using a helmet as a decoy at the window, the enemy will shoot and reveal their location as well. König doesn't fall for it, so the duo decides to change location. But when they jump an open section of the floor, König gets his chance and shoots Kulikov, while Vasily escapes with his life. This pursuit is taking too long, and an impatient Khrushchev is coming down hard on Danilov. After this unpleasant meeting, Danilov takes a present to Tanya as he wants to date her, but to his surprise, she asks to be reassigned. A little while later, Vasily returns to HQ, and he's not in a good mood. He's never seen a shot like König's before and thinks König might have got the best of him. Danilov promises him new intel is on the way, and next time Vasily will be at least 1 step ahead of König, so he doesn't need to worry. But he does ask for something in return. He wants Vasily to convince Tanya not to ask for that transfer. When Vasily tries to speak to her, Tanya explains that she asked to be transferred because that morning she'd learned her parents were among a group of prisoners executed by the Germans, and she wants to go and fight. Understanding her need for revenge, Vasily gives her Kulikov's rifle. Then Sasha shares intel with both König and Vasily, who end up at the same abandoned building, both planning to ambush the other. While König waits by the elevator chute, Vasily and his sniper partner make their way in and hide behind some metal pipes, which shakes them, alerting König of their position. As soon as the pair try to move, König shoots them. Vasily loses his rifle and his comrade is injured, so Vasily sends him back to headquarters since he can't continue to fight in his condition. And while the sniper crawls back to the pipe, Vasily tries to get his rifle by tying some rope to a knife and chucking it at the gun to drag it towards him. But when he finally succeeds in landing the knife, König takes aim and splits the rope in 1 hit. Suddenly, planes are flying overhead, dropping bombs. The glass roof shatters, some of it falling in front of Vasily, giving König a clear shot of his face. Back at headquarters, Danilov is trying to convince Tanya that her skills are far more valuable in the intellectual field, so she should stay. Their argument is cut short by the arrival of the wounded sniper, who explains what's happened. Tanya wastes no time making her way through the same pipe to get to Vasily and help, but the moment she comes into view, he tells her to stay where she is and follow his plan. The same way König has been watching him through the glass shards, Vasily has been using the same method to watch him right back, so thankfully he knows exactly where König is. Tanya grabs a shard of glass and uses it to blind König, allowing Vasily to safely recover his rifle and shoot him. He doesn't kill him, but he does hit his hand. Later, when Vasily and Tanya return to headquarters, they celebrate their escape and their lives with the other soldiers, and afterwards they get hot and steamy under their blankets right in the middle of the communal bedroom. The next morning, Vasily asks Danilov to stop writing about him. He can no longer carry this burden of responsibility, and he wants to fight as a regular soldier. Danilov doesn't accept this, and to manipulate Vasily into feeling bad for even asking, he brings over Sasha, who shows him how proud he is for having gotten intel from König. With the kid looking at him with those hopeful puppy dog eyes, Vasily gives in, and he allows Sasha to guide him to the area where König will be lying in wait. The ground is covered with bodies, so Vasili hides among them and bides his time waiting for Koenig. But there's a snag in the plan. He spends so much time waiting that he falls asleep. Koenig spots him from where he's hiding and gets ready to shoot at him, only to suddenly see a soldier on a looting mission appear between them, moving Vasili's body as if he were dead and stealing all of his belongings without issue. The German army captures the looter and finds he stole Vasili's ID, which makes them think Vasili is dead. Koenig isn't convinced. He's then dismissed but refuses to go home while Vasili may still well be out there. Koenig talks to Sasha again, already suspecting what may be going on, and says where his next location will be. At the Russian headquarters, Khrushchev finds out the Germans are passing around the news of Vasili's death and is enraged, but Danilov doesn't believe it. Khrushchev doesn't care if it's true or not. He wants Danilov to perform his magic of writing and convince the public everything is totally fine. Later, Danilov tries to talk to Tanya about her possibly making her way to his house, but they're interrupted when the loudspeakers start announcing Vasili's death. Danilov gets ready to write a statement of Vasili's heroic death, but at that moment, the man himself comes back. He explains how he missed his shot falling asleep and that he had to stay hidden from a man trying to kill him. So Danilov gets prepared to transfer him. Then Vasili asks about Tanya. Sasha tells him he knew he was alive and told her so she's on her way to the station to find Koenig and get revenge. Danilov and Vasili rush to the station to rescue her, and when they find her, Vasili and Tanya kiss, and Danilov seethes with jealousy. When they return to HQ, Petty Danilov writes his report about Vasili's heroism, but he instead tells the world that Vasili became a traitor. But they fail to realize that Koenig had spotted them at the station and now knows for sure that Sasha has been blabbing intel to Vasili. In true baddie style, he captures the kid and hangs his body from a pole as bait to get Vasili. The only one to fall for the trick though is Tanya, but Vasili stops her from going after Koenig, emphasizing that's just what Koenig wants. They make a plan. While Vasili goes after him, Tanya asks Danilov for a favor, and together they go to see Sasha's mother, Mrs. Filipov. They plan to get her out of the country with a special pass Danilov managed to get her, but Mrs. Filipov doesn't want to leave without Sasha. To protect her from devastation, they don't tell her Sasha died, but that he joined the Germans. Mrs. Filipov accepts this if it means he's safe and agrees to leave. On the way to the boat, a bomb detonates close by, injuring Tanya. Danilov thinks she's died, so scarpers, but Mrs. Filipov won't give up and convinces a doctor to let Tanya board with her by showing her special pass, saying Tanya is her daughter. Vasili and Koenig are in the middle of a standoff in their respective hiding spots, not knowing where the other is. Danilov suddenly appears next to Vasili, and learning Tanya is apparently dead, he thinks he has nothing else to live for and humanity isn't worth saving. Danilov is guilt-ridden about the lies he told about Vasili. So to make amends, he sacrifices himself by coming out of hiding so Koenig can shoot him and reveal his location. But Vasili thinks ahead and doesn't immediately react. This makes Koenig think he's killed Vasili himself and comes out to check the body. Vasili is waiting halfway, and as soon as he aims his rifle at him, Koenig takes off his hat and accepts his fate. Vasili kills him, takes his gun, and leaves it with Danilov's body. 2 months later, after the Germans have surrendered, Vasili gets a letter from Tanya saying she's alive and being taken care of at a field hospital. Once the city is stable and he's safe to travel, Vasili goes to the address indicated in the letter, and the couple are overjoyed when they reunite. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos.